Hello, everybody. I'm the traveling vegan, Phil Nikozissis, and I'm the best-selling author of Have Laptop, Will Travel, Memoirs of a Digital Nomad, 12 Cities, 12 Months. And I'm here with my friend and a very special lady and accomplished woman in her own right,
Thank
Lynn
you.
Ehrenberg, who is the founder and creator of...
Booked Up Palm Beach.
How's that going?
It's going very well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on. I loved your book.
Thank you. The fact that you are you're a book lady.
Yes.
With a national scope and reach, and that you've thought enough of this book. I mean, you've taken this book that I gave you a couple months back, and it's tattered and torn and folded over, and
Lots
there's
of
notes scribbled on it, and highlights, and I mean, wow. I'm flattered. I'm very flattered.
Well, I take this very seriously. So the book club that I run, it's a social and philanthropic group, and we have a national presence. And so I thought of you right away. I was like, when you published your book, that we need to have Phil on our podcast and to review your book. And I got to tell you, it's not just because I know you. It was so good. It was so good. Otherwise, I would just say nothing. The audio and the hard copy. So that's why I was like pleasantly, like I said, I've read it twice. So it was well done.
Once on audiobooks, you told me, right? Once in the print and then on audiobooks.
Yeah, because I read it because I wanted to, and then I wanted to refresh, and I did the audio, and I was like, that's Phil. You actually did your own.
9 hours of reading in my own voice. It was, they say writing a book is the closest thing that a man will ever come to childbirth. and that's true. But then when I had to do the audiobooks and read it for 9 hours and then make mistakes and go back and fix a mistake, I mean, that was probably the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
It was impressive. Like I said, I do a lot of audio listening to, and I can't recall another author who actually did it and did it well. So that was great. I was hoping we could talk about your quotes. I love the quotes in this book. I know there's so much content, but we've got to start somewhere. So. Well,
we've done a segment on Phil Facts, Phil Feelings, No Filter, and Phil Food, PHOOD,
right?
FHACT, and so on. And so now we're going to, which is a feature of the book, the segues, the boxes inside the story. So now we're going to go and talk about the quotes that are at the beginning of each chapter, right?
Right. So I was wondering when I was reading this, because I'm a big quote person, I love quotes. All over Pinterest, quoting things. You can tell what's going on in a woman's life by the quotes she's posting on Pinterest. So I was like reading this, and I was like thinking, oh, I wonder if Phil, like, how did you come up with these quotes? Like, what? Because they were done.
Yeah, so there's 12 chapters for the 12 cities that I lived in for 1 month at a time, running my business from my smartphone and laptop with 48 other people that were strangers on day one. And so each chapter is the city that I lived in. So in the first, let's say chapter 2, I'm in Prague. And so I want to, I wrote the book, and the editor is the one that had the idea that, people love quotes, just like I guess they were thinking of you.
Right.
You're the perfect demographic that they were thinking of. And they said that in the beginning of a chapter, people love a quote. Mm-hmm. So I thought that, wow, that's a great idea. So what I tried to do was to find a quote that kind of sets the table and sets the tone and sets me maybe even the deeper meaning of that chapter and that city and my time in the city. So, for example, can we talk about chapter 2, Prague?
Yes, let's do it.
So the quote in Prague, it's the first page, and on the first page is the quote, but also a map. So the reader can see where we are in the world.
Right.
And this is just so true. Like when I think about this, I get chills about Prague. It says the quote, and you can tell me the name I don't know the name, but I know the quote by heart. It says that some people don't like books because they think books take up space, and some people don't like this. Wait.
The idea's right, but it's not.
Wait, let me read it. Okay, I thought I knew it by heart, but I did it. Okay, let's just read it here. People who prefer ebooks think that books merely take up space. This is true, but so do your children. So does the Sistine Chapel, and so does the city of Prague. And that's That quote was Joe Keenan.
Yep.
So thanks for the help there. I guess my memory's great. It's just a little short.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, you even what about the prologue? I thought that was well done, Robert Frost, because you're about to
Oh, a life-changing
embark on
decision?
your own
What
journey.
did I say there? Go ahead and read it.
Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost.
Yep, the road less traveled.
Yeah. And then you head off into Croatia.
Chapter 1, Split Croatia, where all of us met. Our group met, that we traveled as a team. We were, like I said, we were 49 on day 1. And by the time we adjourned in Mexico City in month 12, chapter 12, month 12, we were down to 30 people.
Oh.
And, some people lost their jobs. Some people missed their boyfriends or girlfriends. Some people got injured. Some people...
It was like Survivor.
It was like, yeah, some people were just like, I can't take, lumpy mattresses anymore. Like,
Were they,
some
did
people...
they sprinkle off, or did everyone hit 6 months and they're out of there, or what did you see?
It kind of, I actually, starting in month 6, in month 1, we lost one guy who just wasn't cut out for the whole
like, "See ya."
situation. Well, we were kind of like, see you to him, and I
Oh.
think he got the bet. No, bless his heart. Really nice guy. Just, he wasn't made for that
I respect the fact
situation.
that he knew that right away.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm out of here. I don't care.
And then we lost one and the funny thing, and I mentioned in the book, I always took the people who left, I always took it so personally. Like, it was maybe there was something I did, or what could I have done to keep them from leaving. But that's so silly of me to think that, right? Because they really literally had their own lives and their own situations going on. And I had nothing to do with their decision to leave, obviously, or I would like to think that I didn't. And but the core. There's actually a WhatsApp thread that, it buzzes daily of 5 guys that were my brothers. And all 5 of us, I think one of the reasons why we were so connected is early on we realized that we agreed that we had made a pact with ourselves, our own individual person.
Yeah.
That we would, no matter what, obviously if we were deathly injured or terribly traumatically injured, it would be different. We'd have to go back home. But no matter what, we would stay to the very, very end. And that's exactly what this core group of guys we did. And
Is it hard that when you say stuff like that, it sounds like it was hard to endure this experience, but then when you read it, it looks like the most amazing experience ever. So what
well,
I don't
so for
understand.
example, the quote, chapter 8, Cordoba, Argentina. By the 8th month, I was tired.
Yeah.
I had broken my foot. I was missing Fong, my Asian girlfriend. And so chapter 8, the quote starts off, traveling is a brutality. It forces you to trust strangers and to lose sight of all those familiar comforts of home and friends. You're constantly off balance. Nothing is yours except the essential things. Air, sleep, dreams, the sky, the sea, all things tending towards the eternal or what we imagine of it. Now that's a little bit ethereal for me, but I was basically trying to say there that traveling sucks.
Right.
At that point in the journey, traveling was not, the bloom was off the rose. Many people we thought were our friends. That kind of things become cliquey in our intrepid group of digital nomads, and
But you
we
made
were
it a decision not to
Of course.
seek their approval at the beginning, right after
Yeah, but
initially,
it's
which I thought
natural.
was nice.
Yeah, that's nice to say.
But you said that somebody else said
it.
it first, and you appreciated his honesty, that he
Yeah.
was really trying to make friends with everybody. And then when he was like, I've got to be on my own journey,
That's right.
I was really, I felt empowered. I was like, ooh, I'm going to be like that too. That was right at the beginning. That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
But
because
you have-
as humans, we want acceptance and we want everyone to like us, and vice versa. And but as adults, we know it's not with everybody. With the stuff people bring with themselves every day, and some of the baggage checks in carry-on overhead, and some of it barely fits in the belly of the airplane. Right. Some
Right.
of that emotional baggage.
Right.
So everybody brought that kind of stuff to on their remote year journeys, and it was they say that remote year and what we did, this company Remote Year, who organized these teams of traveling nomads for 1 year at a time, we call it. If we had to sum it up, what it's like to be with 48 people who were strangers on day 1 and to travel around the world with them as a team. It's basically a bizarre social experiment. It's basically what it is.
Could have been a reality show.
Totally can be a reality. Maybe it still could be, if we can ever get past this current situation. I mean, when you think about it right now, 4 billion people have been locked down around the world with this virus, and not all right now at one time, but I mean, not it's coming. There's it's like a patchwork, but at least 4 billion people have been affected by government imposed lockdowns to not spread, to slow the spread of the virus, which we could obviously, that's a different show that we could talk about whether that's a good idea or not, but
from that okay, so your experience and your fellow Mangoes, you called your group Mangoes.
that's right, Mangata was
You
the firm.
you proved that you can run your business from anywhere, including home. Then that would mean, right? So
Right.
people who are used to going to an office and stuff, then they
Yeah.
went through boot camp training for a year around the world, but now it proves that you can be anywhere and do it. Like, I liked it when you said in there that the younger millennials thought it was funny that you had paper.
I had
Like-
paperwork, yeah. So every 7 or 10 days to 10 days, my secretary overnighted my mail that couldn't be handled electronically, because in real estate, a lot of things are still done paper. That the governments send their correspondence and their tax bills and their utility bills, and I have other people doing that for me. But I still have a few properties that I purchased like 25 years ago that I still do myself, because it's kind of like, it's like my baby or something. It's the weirdest thing.
Makes sense. I understand.
And yeah, so she would overnight me. What do you call it? I call it in the book breeze blocks of paperwork, and I'd break down the paperwork and either sign it and scan it and send it electronically, or send breeze blocks of paperwork back to West Palm Beach, Florida, where it was mailed domestically. And it was like nobody that I dealt with really. I mean, I remember telling bankers that I deal with and different realtors that I deal with and brokers, I've been away for a whole year and you didn't even know it, did you? They're like, what? Yeah, let me send you my book, So that was
Wow.
that was a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
So you want to talk about some more quotes?
I want to
or-
talk about my favorite one.
Oh, you have a favorite?
I do.
Okay.
It's in Peru.
Peru.
I'm in love with cities I've never been to and people I've never met. John Green. Love that.
Oh,
That's me. That's what happens to me.
I love that too. When I've done dozens of book signings in 3 countries and around the United States, and I give a presentation sometimes with a usually I prefer with a PowerPoint because I can organize it, and that is, I put up a slide with that quote. I have a slide with 2 quotes. Travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer, and then below that I have this quote, which is, I'm in love, and the reason why I traveled around the world, I tell the people, is this quote by John Green: I'm in love with cities I haven't been to yet and people I haven't met yet. So that's a great quote.
Yeah,
I'm glad
great.
that's your favorite.
Oh, it's the best.
I'm glad that's your favorite.
Yeah, I was excited already about the quotes, and then I'm like, Peru, there you go. That's my favorite.
That's actually the longest chapter in terms of numbers of words. There's like 85,000 words in this book. It's 300 pages. And for, I guess, some reasons, I was having a lot of fun in Peru, but I was also having a spiritual awakening in Peru with the sacred plant ceremony known as the ayahuasca ceremony, which people still. See, my sister told me the other day, she's like, how could you even? She brought it up. I don't even know why. She said, how could you do that? Drink that tea and that medicine, and then, what if something, and then hallucinate and trip out of your mind and have all of these visions and have all of this thing. And when she was done ranting about that, I said,
I love your
Jeannie,
family.
I said, Jeannie, how could you not do that? She said, how could you do that? I said, how could you not? So it's a very positive thing. I mean, as long as we're talking about the ayahuasca ceremony,
Yeah,
which I did in the mountains of Peru. I flew into Cusco, 10,000 feet high, took this bus to this retreat center, literally in the middle of nowhere, and we were, the ceremony was performed by shamans, true shamans, whose first language wasn't even Spanish. It's the language of Quechuan. Quechuan is the language of the indigenous people, the Western Hemisphere Indians of that region spoke Quechuan, which wasn't even written, which wasn't even a written language until the Spanish became a written language.
Did you learn that when you were there, or did you already know that?
I learned about Quechuan when I was there. It's the first time I ever heard of it.
Cool.
Yeah. And so we drank the tea. It was at night. We laid in sleeping bags under a tent, and they sang hymns to us, like holy hymns in Quechuan, that were just moving in and out of our body and taking me to places. And basically, I learned.
I don't know if
I know.
Sounds scary,
so people,
kinda.
it sounds scary. I'm not really explaining it right, but in the book, I think I dedicate close to 10 or 15 pages to the actual experience itself, and a lot of things were resolved, emotional things, and just where I felt I was in this world, like what it all means, and really what it means is God is love, and the creation, and the dream that of the Creator and the creation is love, and that there's this whole other dimension that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know about, that we will be very much in touch with when we leave this body and we go back into that when we go into that other dimension, we'll be able to, because all we
Heaven?
are, yeah, well,
Or
what
hell?
we call what we in the West call heaven, and all we are essentially is eternal consciousness, and so we will be able to. I learned we're able to travel long distances, like just by thinking of it, we can go like to completely different universes.
Wait,
I also
what?
learned that
You
I also learned
you
that
learned
God
this when you were being hypnotized.
when I was in the trance. Yeah, I also learned that God is a woman,
Oh,
and that she spoke to me directly. It's like she's I mean, it makes
is
sense
this going in
because
conflict with your religion?
well, that's interesting because I used to think that.
What are you? What?
So I
race? What were you
I
raised?
identify with the Orthodox Christian faith tradition, and I consider myself a Christian. But to me now, it's not either or. To me, like I identify with many precepts of Buddhism, which I got in touch with when I was in Thailand.
I love
I
Buddhism.
really just saw the beauty of the people and the simplicity of the message, which I identify. I mean, I practice yoga, I do meditate, and
You would like Judaism too. I can tell.
Really?
Yeah.
well, a Greek, Nicosis is Greek, right?
Yeah.
And a Greek is like a Jew with a boat.
I've actually heard that before.
Did I say that in another episode?
I don't know if you did, but I've heard
no.
it somewhere before. I think it must have been from you. I don't know.
So
That's
there you go.
interesting. No, I could talk to you forever about religion, so I don't know if you want to keep going about this, but
We can come back to it.
We move on.
Yeah,
okay.
we move on.
So, I mean, I think.
Wait, actually, let me close the loop on that,
Okay.
which is I just don't see them as exclusive. I feel that I can have my background, my faith tradition, and then kind of like it's like Legos. I just snap on some extra Legos on top of what's already there.
I like that.
And so, but the priest will tell you, that's not right, and that this is the way, or the rabbi will tell you. Most rabbis, I think, would tell you like we are Jews, we are Judaism, and that's it, and we don't really. We might give respect or give a nice acknowledgement over there, but we're not going over there.
Well, it depends on what level, what kind of Jew you are.
Yeah.
Reform, conservative, Orthodox. I'm a convert, so I had to learn all about that
Right.
stuff. But
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
what you learned and experienced. Although it sounded scary a little bit, but you can even tell in your writing at the end you were like charged up. You had exclamation marks.
No
and you're ready to
hangover.
go. Yeah.
You come down off of this, and you want a piece of fruit. You never want to drink alcohol again. Like I didn't drink for a whole month after the plant ceremony. It's how you know that plants really are the answer to our health.
Did you know in advance before you went to Peru that you were going to be doing this, or was it like you just decided when I don't?
Yeah, I had intentions, and then
Okay.
I was able to, with a simple internet search, find a true. This retreat center had medical doctors on staff, psychotherapists, advocates that could translate for us, and it was just a very professional operation. Not fancy, but very very professional. They also had like I call it an anti-venom. If somebody was literally freaking out from the plant tea,
That's scary.
from the ayahuasca tea, if somebody really was like having convulsions or freaking out, because if you're on antidepressants, you could die. If you're on prescription drugs, you can die. So you have to stop taking prescription drugs for like a week. So they have this anti-venom that they shoot in you that all of a sudden will make
So
it
if
go
somebody
away.
was taking medicine, didn't tell them.
Right.
Oh wow! And
It's how
did
you
that
know-
happen?
No, and it's how you know that prescription medicine is toxic, and plants are actually the answer for our health. That's one of the takeaways. So,
I love that.
any other quotes? I think actually we're.
Do you have a favorite quote? Or are they all
My
your
favorite quote was Prague about the e-books taking up
Okay.
books take up space, and the children take up space, and the city of Prague
I like
takes up
that one,
space.
too.
So I want to thank you, Lynn, for accompanying me here on this journey, this modern day odyssey around the world that I tried to capture in my book Have Laptop Will Travel, and talking about the quotes that are at the beginning of each chapter that tried to set the tone for the city that I lived in that month. And so you too, you can read this it's available on Amazon, it's available on Kindle, it's available on iBooks on the Apple platform, also all the audiobook platforms.
Yeah.
And you can go to my Instagram, The Traveling Vegan. Traveling has one L, which I learned by misspelling it the first time.
Like Philip.
Philip has one L. The Traveling Vegan, and then philnico.com, you can see some of my vegan lectures. And happy reading and happy Cape life. Celebratory, adventurous, purposeful, and extraordinary. Would love to have for everybody to have a Cape life.
Love
Thank you
that.
very much.